What's up, Skullbells TV? Meal prep is meaty here as always. Today we are making a Mediterranean style pizza, which means exactly what it sounds like because all of the ingredients that we are using today will be coming from animals. We will not be using any plant products. It's a favorite in our house for a lot of our bodybuilders that are competing on a meat-based diet that want to add some volume and some variety to their meal plan without adding foods that won't help them get that winning physique. It's super simple. Before I walk you through it, I actually want to share two of my own secrets as to why this meat-based pizza is a nutrition powerhouse so that you can understand the purpose of the ingredients that we're going to be using. So number one, if possible, use duck eggs instead of chicken eggs. It's okay, but you can still do it with chicken eggs. But if you compare chicken eggs to duck eggs, I think that you will find that chicken eggs are not all that they are quacked up to be. So health aside, these bind way better than chicken eggs too. As a binding agent, they're much better for like things like homemade keto ice cream because of the texture and the body that it adds. Basically, anything that you use chicken eggs for, you're better off with duck eggs. Most of my US clients get them from like a neighbor or something. We get ours from our parents. My parents live 20 minutes away. They have ducks. Most farmers, most ranchers around here know someone that has duck eggs, and they're usually willing to trade. So duck eggs have more omega-3s, more omega-3 fatty acids than chicken eggs, and so that means that they're going to be less inflammatory. They have more vitamin A. They have more antioxidants, and many people who are allergic to chicken eggs for whatever reason actually tend to do just fine on duck eggs a lot of the time. They stay fresher longer because their shells are a lot thicker. And reason number two is because there's 0 grams of fiber in this crust, which is actually a good thing. So why is this significant? Well, a fun fact about fiber, it blocks nutrients that you should be absorbing from the meat because of the damage that it causes by causing micro tears in the mucosal membrane of the small intestine, okay? So that's why everything that I teach, if you want to look, live, feel, perform your best, is to keep fiber to a minimum, because if you're eating something as nutrient dense as duck eggs and beef, then you're going to want every essential fatty acid and mineral that you can get out of this stuff, right? So back to the pizza crust. But for more on that, make sure that you're subscribed to our nutrition podcast, Carnivore Coaches Corner. My co-host, Richard Smith from the UK, and we publish every single week. And this week's episode, Sarah and I unpacked peer-reviewed clinical studies on what fiber does inside your body, what it actually does inside your gut, and what our experience has been in our own lives and the anecdotal reports that our clients have concerning their experiences with fiber. And it's too controversial for YouTube. I don't want to get banned, so that's why it's on our podcast. Link in the show notes of this video for more on that. All right, so our crust ingredients. Number one is going to be 4 duck eggs or 7 chicken eggs. That's going to be kind of about the same volume. So number two is going to be a dash of heavy cream. This just helps whip up the pizza crust, and so it gives it more of like a fluffy bread-like texture. And then ingredient number 3 is going to be a natural sea salt. So I don't typically use seasonings personally because every seasoning that I'm aware of, if it's plant-based, contains lectins, oxalates, and other pro-inflammatory toxins that your local health store probably doesn't know about when they will tell you about how good things like turmeric are and other seasonings and how they'll negatively impact your health if you're going to get technical. But however, garlic powder won't kill you. And here's a good time to mix it in with the salt if you want more of that like authentic Mediterranean pizza taste so that you'll feel like you're dining in Italy. You could even add a little bit of olive oil here probably if you want. Other than that, duck eggs have a lot more flavor than chicken eggs, so try it the first time with no seasonings at all and just let the salt and the natural flavor of the egg speak for itself. My favorite salts are Baja Gold and Celtic sea salt, but any natural sea salt from your local health store is totally going to work just fine. Unless you're tracking sodium for like some sort of specific body composition goal, just go liberal with the salt here. And when salt doesn't start tasting good, that's your indication. That's your body's way of telling you that you have that you don't need any more sodium than what you're eating right now. So when it comes to things like water, things like sodium, just follow your intuition and you can't go wrong there. So your topping ingredients is going to be number one, your meat of choice. So once again here, you could top it off with some pizza sauce or tomato paste, but I like to keep all my ingredients meat-based. So I simply top it off with whatever meat I'm eating at the time for my contest prep. Currently, I am 10 weeks out from my next show, which will be a guest posing gig at the Open Natural in Seattle, Washington. So lately, I've been doing lots of 73% ground beef. The reason for that is because the high fat content helps me get into ketosis and stay in ketosis. Number two is leftover cuts of steaks that my wife and kids eat, pieces of lamb chops that my beautiful wife smoked up for Father's Day yesterday, chicken thigh meat, pieces of salami or pepperoni. You can get really creative here, though, so the sky is really the limit. And I haven't done this, but a lot of my clients are using sardines because that's helping their ketone rating stay up too. So you could totally throw those on, or like some anchovies would be a good idea here. And number two is dairy. Yep, that's right, because dairy is a-okay on the carnivore diet. Many people that are skeptical about the carnivore diet don't realize it, but the sky is basically the limit if you're keeping your carbs to a minimum in terms of the fatty dairy products that you can get away with it. It's pretty hard to overdo it here. I use plain old just cheddar cheese, nothing special here. I'm also going through a bit of a sour cream phase, so that's pretty bomb. Beats the heck out of bell peppers, onions, and anything else that my gut isn't a fan of, and so that's just my opinion. But I do challenge you to try loading up the fatty dairy for a while and just minimize the vegetables that you're normally topping off with and see what happens to your carb cravings. When you eat more fat, you crave more fat and you crave less sugar. It's pretty awesome. You can put butter on top of it too. Don't judge it until you try it. I think it's actually pretty bomb. And number three is more salt. So finish it off with more natural sea salt, and that'll bring out more of its natural flavor. Right? So your directions is going to be step number one: blend up the eggs, the cream, and the salt. I just use a Ninja hand blender. Step number two is going to be to preheat the air fryer to maximum. The air fryer is really, really key here in getting that fluffy texture. I guess you could probably do it in an oven, and you could totally do it in an egg pan, but this way works the best for me if that's the texture that we're going for. So I just set it to the highest level. Step number three is going to be to grease the tin foil with butter or tallow. I just use whatever butter is on the counter or my home rendered beef tallow. And usually I use a dinner plate and wrap up the tin foil in that dinner plate, and then I flip it over, and then that makes it the perfect size. Okay, so step number four is going to be to pour the eggs into the foil and fry it all up. So I just use whatever butter is on the counter or my home rendered beef tallow. You just want to spread it out as evenly as you can. The last time that I was in Italy was like 10 years ago, and you better believe that I ate pizza like every single chance that I got, and the edges were never perfectly round. So don't worry about being a perfectionist here. Nobody's going to judge you. I usually leave it in the air fryer for like 5 to 7 minutes. And then once the top starts to look a little brown is the time to pull it out. All right. So then step number five is going to be to add the toppings. And once again, when in doubt, go for the fatty meats. Stick with these and you can really trust your natural intuition on what and how much to eat if you're on a specific health or like a fat loss mission or something. And then here again, usually about 5 to 7 minutes is kind of like how I like to cook it after that. And then that gets the cheese and everything that I put on top of it nice and crispy the way I like it. So play around and see what temperature is best for you. Step number 6, eat like a lion, live like a lion, right? You probably saw that one coming. But keeping my fats high and processed carbs and fiber low helps me to sleep better, train better, play music better, all the things that are important to me in life. Remember that variety is not the spice of life. Vitality is. The carnivore diet is not restrictive, it's freeing. All right, and then step number 7 is to subscribe to Skull Bells TV, y'all. We hit you hard anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week, depending on my workload and my family plans for the week. Make sure that you're up to date on our podcast if you're not. For workout motivation, the supersetyourlife.com podcast this Monday, our topic was how to be strong in the Lord. This Friday is going to be a marriage episode. Our nutrition podcast is every Wednesday. That is Carnivore Coaches Corner. Both podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your favorite show. Links in the show notes there. God bless. Catch you soon with another video on working out or nutrition or something inspiring right here on Skull Bells TV.